We gotta talk about what is happening in Germany, more specifically what has been happening in Germany for a year now. Berlin now has what is called a side brothel, meaning that the customers, who are majority men, have the option to rent out these AI dolls, and these dolls can have conversations with them, they can physically interact with them. The men also have the option to get, a VR headset, so it feels as real as possible even though they're only talking to a machine. They can book them for hours or even the entire night. Anybody with a couple of $100 can go to these AI dolls. Now, Philipp Fusenegger, who is, the owner of this, has said that people just feel more comfortable when they're talking to a machine because machines don't judge you. Is it that machines do not judge you, or is it that you can do whatever you want to a machine? Things that would be very illegal to do to a woman. Because we're getting incredibly concerning reports on these things. You are able to customize your dolls, the way they look, their hair, their eyes, their skin, their size. You can even give them features that would normally be seen in, people who are below the age of 18. You can also, reinforce the mindset that when it comes to, heterosexual relationships, the only person whose actual desires and thoughts matter are the man.
So let me say this. Do I condone this? Do I condone, men engaging in sexual acts with dolls, VR and all that stuff? No, right? I'd rather, men engage with real women. That's obviously the most healthy thing to do. At the same time, I'd be naive to think that I don't understand what a lot of men are going through, right? Especially men that are having trouble, having success dating women. Okay, there's a lot of men out there that that can't even get dates, or they don't even have any chance of having a sexual interaction with a woman. And the closest thing that they'll get is this doll. But we already see with a lot of men, especially when it comes to corn, right? The most searched topic is corn, and there's a lot of men engaging in that activity. And of course, for this is obviously extreme version of that, right? Where you're dealing with artificially, a doll, right? with so-called artificial intelligence. And for a lot of men, this is the best they can get when it comes to some form of interaction with a female. And of course, like I said, I don't condone it, but it's just like, we know this is an issue in today's society, and not just in the United States. Is I think what Japan or in other countries in the East, Asian countries that are dealing with this. So it's just not here. It's a lot of men that are dealing with this situation. And you need to understand, capitalism is, if there's a problem, there's going to be someone with a solution. Okay, and obviously this is going to be a very lucrative solution for a lot of men, because there are a lot of men that are willing to pay for this stuff. And that's obviously something we don't want. But however, it is, we do have the freedom to make choices in life. And when you have men that are dealing with women that aren't able to get what they want in terms of, sexual experience, these are the results. All right.
A woman is just there to do whatever you want her to do. You're going to make it impossible for these men to have actual interactions with real-life human beings. We're also getting reports on, men asking for dolls with injuries, with blood, asking to do incredibly horrific and violent things to these dolls. Things that could land them in prison if they were to do that to an actual woman. But hey, that is just fantasy. It's not reality, right? We have never seen men who are interested in these types of things and who are consuming this type of content online or now in real life with these types of dolls actually targeting and being violent towards real-life human beings, real-life women. That has never happened before, and it will definitely not happen here. It is all just about, making sure men have a place where they can live out their depraved fantasy.
Stop acting like men have these fantasies as well. Women have this stuff too, right? Women have all types of fantasies that they want to exert, and of course for the guy, they want to put it on the doll. Hey, it's better than a person, right? And like I said, I don't condone this stuff. Okay, but you have, when it comes to, what I hear, it's like, this whole sexual liberation, right? Women had the opportunity to, be sexually liberated, do what they want when it comes to their body, and do what they want with their fantasies and stuff like that. And now men are doing the same thing, right? Obviously, this is not what you want, but men are obviously doing the same thing with dolls. And it seems that, some women are not happy with that, right? When I look at it, is that it seems when I hear her talk, it's almost like, sounds like a person that's frustrated that, women are losing the only leverage that they have when it comes to dealing with men, right? And that's sex. And for when I hear this, is just like, look at, man, yes, you don't want men, obviously you don't want men, when it comes, it's kind of disturbing to hear men talk, like you said, their men are ordering dolls, to recount their, sexual fantasies, that when it comes to blood and all types of stuff. Yeah, it's kind of disturbing to hear that. But look at, people have some crazy fetishes, right? Crazy fetishes. And if they're going to do that to the doll, it's better a doll than a person, right? But look at, this is a problem. Like, this is something we don't want, but this is what society is coming to, is where men are not able to get access to certain women, because women, when it comes to women all want a certain type of man. Like me personally, I would tell men, of course, improve yourself, right? Hit the gym, develop skills and better yourself, improve yourself. But let's be real, like, you're talking about a lot of women wanting a certain type of man that probably make a certain type of income, or have a certain type of status in life, and a lot of men just don't measure up to that, right? And they don't feel that they'll ever measure up to that, or maybe they don't even want to put in the work to do that. So it's just like, what, a lot of human beings, men and women, what we tend to do is that we go to the path of least resistance. Okay, and that's why you see corn, and then you say people getting access to these little sex dolls, right? They don't want to put in work, so this is just the path of least resistance that a lot of people, human beings, tend to just go the path towards. And sad, you don't want to see it, but it's a problem, okay? And people tend to find solutions to a problem, and people tend to engage in it, all right?
Because God forbid a man is ever judged for wanting to be violent towards a woman, for wanting somebody that looks like a minor, for wanting a woman covered in bruises and injuries and blood. You should never judge a man for that. That's just the way they are, right? Also, they are saying, their workday begins with a doll shower, which just sounds like the nastiest things ever, because they have to clean up all of these dolls after the men are done with them. They then put on this beautiful makeup on these dolls so they look like real women. One of the dolls is called Kokeshi. Her skin is described as super soft, and it even smells like perfume. 1 hour with her costs $100, and the owner himself says that it is very rare for female customers to come, but they do have a male doll for that, even though it gets used next to never, at least not by women. The owner says he wanted to create an art gallery, somewhere where you could interact with the art by using and abusing it. That is the way you're supposed to interact with art. He says, after a few minutes, the doll adjusts to my body heat, and then it's very comfortable. At first, this was supposed to be temporary, but it got more and more popular. The way Kokeshi, welcomes these men is by saying, "Hi, I am Kokeshi. I'm an intergalactic being. It's my cosmic mission to bring the intercourse of the future to the Earth." The person behind the voice is a real-life human being. There's a camera, and she can see everything that is happening, so she can also, react to what is happening, I guess. She wants to stay anonymous and calls herself Aphrodite. She does say she's trying to, also teach consent to these adult men. If somebody just, kind of jumps her, she says she'll be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, please ask me before you do this." Now, what do these dolls look like? They look like all the women out there, all real-life women. A very big chest next to no waist, because organs are not necessary when you're a woman, and very long legs. That's super educational for the men, because, that is what the founder is saying, that he wants the men to be.
Man, this ain't about education, man. It's about men getting their rocks off, fulfilling a fantasy. Look at women read books, right? They read books with all types of sexual fantasies, I don't know, like that women wish they could engage in. There's women that be liking to get choked out. They like all types of craziness, right? And no one says anything about that, right? It's a woman, sexual liberation, just fulfilling her fantasies. But the guys out here, they on the dolls, and now you want to have a problem with it, right? Like I said, I don't condone this. This is not something I would do. But look at, man, as long as they're not hurting anybody, man, I wish they would go find a different route. But like I said, this is the world that we live in, when especially when it comes to these, there's a lot of guys that just don't have access, and they're struggling. All right. And I wish there was a simple solution to this, but look at, you can't, you tell women like, hey, find this type of guy, and you can't force women to do what they don't want to do, right? It's like, a woman's attracted to a certain type of man, and if these men are not the type of men that they're attracted to, then what are they supposed to do? I don't know. Like, it's it's something that, it's hard to find a solution to this type of problem. So let's let her finish up, and then
free to explore and to also maybe learn something out of this. Now they're going out and learning that, you know, women should do whatever they want them to do, look however they want them to look, not complain, not cry, not yell, and also very unrealistic proportions. You just say that the people who manufacture these dolls are white men. We know. It is quite obvious, but thank you. Now, as I said, there's also a VR element to this. It's so you can imagine a woman that looks the way you want her to look in whatever situation you want her to be in. But then you also have the option to actually touch something in real life, aka the doll. We have the options to do so many things with, you know, modern technology. But in this instance, it was chosen to, you know, feed men's addiction to adult content, unrealistic ideas about women, and also make them believe that certain, you know, fantasies that are definitely not okay are okay. There is a reason why, you know, it's mostly men who are interested in establishments like that. And instead of addressing that and fixing that, you're just feeding more into it. We gotta talk about what is happening.
Alright, so that's pretty much it. You know, look at man. Like I said, I don't condone something like this, but this is a problem that, you know, a lot of men are dealing with. You know, women may not be happy with it, but you tell me this, what is your solution, right? What are your solution? You don't want these men, right? So why are you worried about them? Like, right? You don't want these men. Like, these are the men that, you know, that don't meet your standards. So then, you know, let them do what they want to do. Stop worrying about them, right? As long as they're not bothering you, as long as they're not putting harm on anyone else, right? They're going to do what they're going to do. And look, I don't know what the solution is, right? Because I'm a man. You know, women are going to do what they're going to do. Men are going to do what they're going to do. So it's an issue. But those are my thoughts. Interested to hear your thoughts. Make sure you leave a comment down below. Hit the like button and share. And if you haven't done so, make sure to subscribe. Guys, take care. Have a good one. Later.